could knock that guy out, then it's a draw.
They also haven't used the rule yet.
So you go knockout for knockout.
Boy, that rule looks like it's written by lawyers, doesn't it? Doesn't that rule look written by lawyers? So find out what's happening, because I think they were going to announce something today about Lamont Roach, Gervonta Davis decision.
Of my sport that I've been in for 50 years, I hate what people do to it. I hate it. I don't hide that.
You ain't gonna win. I said, why not? What you talking about? Hey, like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I said, oh, is that right?
Joe Rogan has spoken out against the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach fight, questioning whether the fight was fixed. He took issue with the strange rule that gave a knocked-out fighter 2 minutes to recover and come back into the fight, possibly turning a knockout into a draw. Rogan suggested this rule might be a way to manipulate the outcome, hinting that the fight could have been rigged.
Roach, Gervonta Davis decision on the knockdown. It was a very good fight, though. Lamont Roach is very good. I was really impressed, because Tank is nasty. Tank is so powerful. He's so vicious. Like his one punch power at 135 is like nobody else's in the division.
The fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach raised suspicions of being fixed, especially after Roach hinted at corruption in boxing during the 11th or 12th round. Davis reportedly told him, "They ain't going to give it to you," implying the judges had already made their decision. Roach acknowledged that boxing often works this way, particularly when facing a big name like Davis. When the final scores were announced, Roach initially thought he had won by split decision but was disappointed to find out otherwise. His reaction highlighted the harsh reality of how outcomes can sometimes be decided before the fight even ends.
Felt like you won the fight, but when the fight was over, before the judges, before the scorecards came up in the ring, were you worried at all that maybe you wouldn't get the nod?
Y'all know something funny? When we was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11th, we was talking shit, right? But he like, you ain't gonna win. I said, shit, why not? What you talking about? He like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I said, oh, is that right? So, that's how boxing work. It's sad to say, that's how boxing work. I'm not like totally upset. I figured with a superstar, you won't get too much on paper. But shit, I damn sure thought I had it. Especially when they announced the score for him. I was like, oh, they gonna give me a split decision win. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh shit, here it comes. But as soon as I heard that 114, I was just like, damn, alright, it's over with.
Veteran referee Jack Rice weighed in on the controversy surrounding the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach Jr. fight, focusing on the flexibility of boxing rules. He pointed out that referees have the ultimate authority in the ring, giving them full discretion over key decisions like knockdowns and stoppages.
Against Formoso Hernandez, when he lands the punch and turns his back and takes a knee, he gets counted. You think of Miguel Cotto against Antonio Margarito, where it was under duress and he just took that knee. And of course, my compadre right here, Chris Algieri against Ruslan Provodnikov as well. It wasn't a particular shot. You feel something, you feel discomfort, you take a knee. All those times, there's a count, dude. And I'll tell you what, Steve Willis also knew there was a count because he started counting and then stopped.
Yeah, we'll get to it. There's more than one pillar of this defense for Lamont Roach Jr., but the first one's a knockdown, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, we have a ton of experts on the panel today. I'm going to speak from a fighter standpoint, just like you did, Champ. And you can argue whether that right hand landed clean or if it landed hard or how hard those jabs were. It doesn't matter. Champ, when you mentioned when I took that knee against Ruslan Provodnikov, I actually didn't get hit. I was still recovering from the last knockdown when my orbital was damaged. My eye was damaged. My vision was impaired. I gave ground so I would keep my opponent off me, and I still couldn't see. So I took a knee, understanding very well that as soon as I took that knee, I was going to get a count. Yeah. And I had 8 to 9 seconds to get up, and I had more time to get my vision back, which it did, thank God.
And Mayweather didn't get hit either. He threw the punch.
Yeah, he actually landed left on Formoso, Hernandez.
So, this is standard procedure here, guys.
Yeah, and we got to see, the question I have to ask, I got to start with Jack Reese. Is there something we are, as fans, aren't seeing about this knockdown that changes it? Because me, as a fan, I saw a knockdown in round number 9. What's your thought?
Well, when I agreed to come on, I'm regulated by an ethics agreement that I signed, so I don't want to come on and criticize or actually defend his actions or anybody's actions. What I would like to do is just lay out what the rules and regulations say, and the court of public opinion, and you guys can make your own decision on what you think happened based upon what the rules and regulations are. And let me just say this. There's a difference between rules and regulations. Regulations are very strict. They're written into statute, into law. That's the operating system. And then the rules are very flexible, and they help you actually do the details that work within that system.
After the controversial draw between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach Jr., the New York State Athletic Commission, NYSAC, admitted to a review error that impacted the judgment of the 9th-round knockdown. They acknowledged the dispute and promised an investigation. However, despite appeals from Roach's team, the NYSAC upheld the majority draw decision. This situation has sparked discussions about the credibility of boxing, with concerns that such controversies could undermine public trust in the sport. It's become clear that maintaining transparency and fairness is crucial for boxing's future and reputation.
The New York State Athletic Commission is reviewing the controversial whatever. They said they blame on the production team. The blame is on the production team. The knee, all that. They say the New York State Athletic Commission says they are reviewing the controversial no knockdown call in the March 1st matchup between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. Right? They deem technical issues, right? Involving Gervonta Davis taking the knee in the 9th round, blah, 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 blah. A technical issue. So apparently, they had AOL dial-up at the Barclays Centers.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, this story gets crazier and crazier by the minute. And I remember when it transpired, and we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And nobody was bringing up the fact, and I think we were the only people that actually brought up the fact that they actually reviewed it. They actually reviewed it after the round.
Yeah.
And stated that it wasn't a knockdown.
Yeah.
So it started, and maybe there was some misinformation, but that's what it was said. That's what they were told. That's what the commentators were told. That
the NYSAC stated that both fighters followed the referee's decisions during the match and there was not enough reason to change the result. This resolution has sparked mixed reactions within the boxing community. The outcome of the fight carries weight for both fighters' careers. For Davis, the controversy has drawn increased scrutiny, and a potential rematch is being discussed. As for Roach, his performance has raised his profile, creating opportunities for bigger fights. The boxing world will be closely watching what both fighters do next.
So breaking news, the New York State Athletic Commission has upheld Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach as a draw. Now this is what I expected. I mean, commissions very rarely change the results of fights, unless of course someone tests positive for a PED. But in this case, the commission had a very poor explanation. They did admit that referee Steve Willis missed the knockdown of Tank in round 9, but it's the sequence of events after that for me that should have guaranteed the knockdown. As soon as Tank took the knee, the referee started the count. 1, 2, 3, and then as soon as Tank came back, Steve Willis stopped the count. Secondly, when Tank went to his corner, he got his face wiped off by a towel, which is illegal in the middle of a round. I mean, even Canelo said it, that's merit for a disqualification. So I don't know how the commission can admit a knockdown should have been ruled, display a sequence of errors, and then say, oh, well, the referee didn't rule a knockdown in real time, so we'll uphold the result. It seems kind of odd, but I do get it. I mean, there'd have been outrage if the commission overturned the result. But what I want to see now is the WBA enforce a rematch. Lamont Roach deserves a second opportunity. I'm sure the fans would want to see it as well. And that's the right thing to do for the integrity of the sport.
Joe Rogan has made it clear that he believes a rematch is necessary after the controversial draw between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. He openly challenged the legitimacy of the decision, stating that he didn't consider the draw a fair result. Rogan argued that Davis shouldn't be allowed to walk away from such an underwhelming performance without giving fans the closure they deserve. He stressed that boxing's credibility is on the line when questionable decisions are left unchallenged. According to Rogan, the only way to resolve the issue is with a rematch, ensuring both fighters get a clear and final outcome.
Everybody saw it. You can't get around what everybody saw. Look, it wasn't a legit knockdown like he hurt Tank. Tank did have some in his eyes, but what are you doing putting in your hair when you have a world title fight? That's crazy.
And no one want to hear about it in the middle of a fight. That no one cares. If a fly by, drop the ball, bro.
Right.
Drop the damn ball. We don't care if a fly flew by your helmet or your eyes.
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck about that.
You can't be a championship fighter and taking a knee and putting on those type of performances.
Also, what are they putting in his hair? that when he's sweating it is dripping into his eyes. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Bro, shave your head.
Weird, right? Yeah, exactly.
Shave your head. Who cares?
Like, don't be pretty boy. You better go get this fight.
Get those braids out of there. You don't need those.
Respected boxing analyst Teddy Atlas has called for a rematch between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach, stating that the unresolved issues from their first fight warrant another bout. However, he expressed doubt that the rematch will happen, citing the lack of accountability regarding the referee's decisions.
I think we know the answers. I think we know the answers. I think we know the answers.
But we need the rematch, and we'll get it. But I touched on last night during the live stream. It's the great Angelo Dundee with Ali when he couldn't see and he was blinded. He didn't say go out there and call a timeout, take a knee. Go and run, move until you can see. And just to be able to go out there and call a timeout, it's like being in the schoolyard. Oh, do over. Unbelievable. This has to be addressed. This can't just continue. This referee must be sat down and reprimanded. And hopefully we get some answers and we get the rematch.
We won't. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I am, but I'm ashamed of myself. I am so cynical. But this sport has made me cynical. I'm sorry. I don't see anyone's going to reprimand this referee. I don't. What are they going to do? I mean, it happens too often. It's happened too often. I don't know. We need a national commission. That's the only thing I could think of, but we're not getting one right now. But the last thing I want to say to put a bow on this one, Bud, we talked about the controversial part, but I want to finish with the great part. That was high-level boxing. That was two guys at the highest level showing their skills.
Teddy Atlas criticized modern-day boxing, arguing that popularity and influence often play a bigger role in determining fight outcomes than skill. He expressed frustration over what he sees as manipulated decisions, where the integrity of the sport is sacrificed for financial and promotional gain. Atlas believes this shift has damaged boxing's authenticity, leaving longtime fans and purists disillusioned with the lack of fair competition. His concerns reflect a larger ongoing debate about the credibility of the sport today.
What are you going to do? I love my sport that I've been in for 50 years. I hate what people do to it. I hate it. I don't hide that. I love the fighters. I admire the fighters. I try to defend the fighters the best I can. But that was appreciated by me. To see, I appreciate Floyd Mayweather, I appreciate Sugar Ray Leonard, I appreciate, all those great fighters, Muhammad Ali, that, Willie Pep, who I got a picture of, Will of the Wisp over here.
A key moment in the fight came when the referee controversially decided not to count Gervonta Davis's knee in the 9th round as a knockdown. This decision, or lack of one, has sparked a lot of debate, with many arguing that it significantly influenced the final score and the overall result of the fight. Critics suggest that if the knockdown had been acknowledged, it could have changed how the judges scored the fight, potentially altering the outcome. Fans and analysts have questioned the referee's judgment, continuing to discuss the consistency and fairness of officiating in major boxing matches. The decision remains highly contested.
All right, man. Listen, it's been a couple of days since that Lamont Roach versus Gervonta Davis fight. And look, you fooled me once, okay? I'm going to let y'all get that. Y'all got that. But come on, man. This was a money fight, clearly, and also clearly Tank lost. I mean, there's no mistaken identity that Roach landed more punches, Tank had a higher percentage, but when we look at the punches and the punching power, it was Lamont Roach 8 rounds to 4. And then if you take in consideration that Tank took that knee, which count as a knockdown, the ref even started counting. I mean, there's nothing even to debate here. If they were tied without them even counting that, if you supposed to have counted that part, he would have actually lost the fight. It's a win for Lamont Roach. Get your bag. Go out there and say you the only person that tied with Tank Davis. But, man, if y'all fight, y'all better fight for real, because this, be real, man.
The first fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach sparked strong reactions from fans, many of whom expressed their disappointment by booing. They felt that Davis underperformed, and even fellow boxer Shakur Stevenson voiced his frustration with Davis's performance. The reactions highlighted a widespread belief that Davis did not live up to expectations, adding to the controversy surrounding the fight's outcome and his overall showing in the ring.
Gervonta doing this shows that it wasn't an outside strange occurrence, that it may just be a part of his DNA. For him to get hit in amateurs and then take a step back and take a knee when he obviously wasn't hurt, it just shows to me that instead of gritting it out, all right, and possibly get knocked out or taking those chances, he'd rather take a knee to disrupt the momentum and then start over. That's how I'm taking it. It can be a great strategy, or it can be the bully complex, that when you meet somebody and they're not fearing you, or they're not retreating or backing away from you, and they're showing poise and the ability to withstand your output and give some back, like any book, they kind of unravel.
Boxing commentator Showbiz the Adult criticized Gervonta Davis for making excuses about his performance. He pointed out that with an experienced trainer like Calvin Ford in his corner and proper preparation, Davis should have performed better. Showbiz urged Davis to accept the draw, emphasizing that while Davis didn't do enough to earn a win, he still wanted one.
Let's say this first. I made a video yesterday talking about how I agree with the New York State Athletic Commission for not overturning the draw. And I get their point when they were saying, you know, you don't know exactly how the fight would have played out if it was ruled a knockdown real time. All right, Gervonta would have definitely changed his approach, and so would Lamont Roach. So you can't really say that everything would have remained the same. So you can't overturn it. And I just want to use this as an example because somebody added me on X. I'm sorry if I forgot your name, but they were like, yo, please bring this up when Bud Crawford versus when he knocked out Sean Porter. Yeah, the same thing. Harris Crawford and Sean Porter was pretty much even that fight. I remember when I called that fight, I had it 5-4 going into the 10th for Bud Crawford. Yeah. So that's 5-4 Crawford. Well, Crawford was told by someone on the side that he was down.
Tank Davis's trainer responded to the criticism by saying that fame naturally attracts detractors and people will always have their opinions. He stressed that no matter what Tank does, there will always be both positive and negative views. He pointed out that success often brings negativity, but they remain focused on training, winning, and proving their doubters wrong in the ring.
So, without the knee, you have it 7-5 Tank winning it. How does Tank feel after the loss? I mean, the draw.
I mean,
it seemed like he seemed like he took it well when he had the mic.
I went to the press after press with Tank. I mean, we didn't discuss it. You know, I ain't talked to him yet. You know.
Okay. Looking at all the fighters talk about the knee, does that surprise you?
Well, you got haters with everything he do. You know, you just got Tank haters. But you know, fighters been taking knees through the history of boxing. You know, so people want to talk.
So you believe that this was an honest mistake when it came down to Tank taking that knee, or do you feel like this is something that happens in boxing?
It wasn't illegal, so I ain't gonna say it was a mistake.
That's why I asked you that's exactly the way. Like, do you feel like it was a mistake, or do you feel like no, this is a veteran move? This is stuff that happens in boxing.
It happens in boxing. It happens in boxing. It wasn't illegal.
The fight against Lamont Roach Jr. was one of the toughest challenges of Gervonta Davis's career. Roach's relentless punch volume and the controversial knee incident pushed Davis to his limits. Although Davis kept his title, many fans were unimpressed with his performance, leading to heavy criticism and a damaged reputation. The controversy has sparked accusations that boxing is being manipulated for financial gain, with many believing pay-per-view revenue is prioritized over fair competition. Fighters like Davis, some argue, benefit from questionable decisions, and incidents like this are seen as harming the sport's integrity, turning it into more of a business than a competition.
Oh my god, Gervonta just lost his perfect record. His fight with Lamont Roach was scored as a majority draw. Roach threw more punches and landed more punches on Gervonta. Just look at the numbers. And was this a knockdown? Roach after the fight wasn't satisfied, and he said if that was scored as a knockdown, he would have won the fight tonight. Gervonta Gervonta after the fight said that some grease from his hair just got in his eyes and he couldn't see well. Crowd started booing Tank, his own crowd. We all know boxing fans. They love you one day, they hate you one day. That's exactly what Tank said. What do you think really happened? Was that because Lamont is really that guy? Or is it because Tank really needs to take time to himself, retire, go back to school as he mentioned? I don't know, but you go ahead and comment. Let's talk about it.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.